Illinois' next legislative session starts in January, and local and state legislators met today to discuss the stakes for the stateline community during the second annual Northern Illinois Council of Governments Legislative Luncheon. State legislators got to hear directly from local representatives on the needs of the stateline community. The main subjects discussed included the budget gap and the different ways to approach it with property taxes, funding for education, and immigration. They also discussed the goal to make Rockford stand out next to cities like Chicago, mentioning the casino and the taxes that come from it.
There's a budget gap in Springfield, and there's obviously different mindsets and philosophies on how to deal with a budget shortfall. And so we heard a lot about pensions, we heard about unfunded mandates, we heard about education, on everybody that represents us in Springfield, how they're approaching the budget discussions that'll be happening in early 2025.